Do you think it's going to be really, really difficult for us from here?
Definitely. So I guess we were already going through a lot of pain in the last 18 months and had never anticipated something like COVID happening. And since, it was almost like something you see in science movies, science fiction.
Yes.
I had not imagined something like this in my lifetime. And it's zero retails in April, zero manufacturing in April. In my 35, I would say 40 years in this industry, I have not seen any time like this. Definitely job losses across the ecosystem, whether in manufacturing to dealerships to component manufacturing. So there are going to be job losses. But youngsters who are wanting to come in, I still see a very, very big opportunity. And why I'm saying so is because the entire ecosystem is changing. A lot of new profiles which are getting created. A lot of new ways in which you're going to get associated with the auto industry. Therefore, I think the youngsters can definitely look at a lot of new profiles, and probably they'll be more suited to the coming times than people who are already there. Of course, as an industry, we will definitely make an effort to upskill and reskill people who are already there, but we will need to look at a lot of new profiles.
So what are the qualifications that, currently you would advise someone to have? I mean, everybody thinks it's just automotive engineering. They think it's mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. And a lot of people just go towards that field. But are there any other fields of specialization or areas that you would recommend that, there is a large space for in the automotive industry?
So I think what people should look at is mechatronics. I think mechatronics is becoming really, really big because now 70% of your car is electronics and not mechanical. And there is a combination of mechanical and electronics which now makes a car. So there are as many as 50 plus ECUs, electronic control units, which are almost like mini computers planted on your car. So I think mechatronics is one field where there's going to be a lot of new jobs. Again, across the ecosystem, because even in dealerships, you will require a lot of mechatronics for diagnosis, correction. So I think that's one field. The other field definitely is to do with data analytics, because if we are going digital, there'll be a lot of data. There'll be a humongous amount of data which will be available to the entire ecosystem. Now, to make some kind of sense with that data, I think data analytics is another field which is becoming very, very important. The third is, I think, social media marketing and digital marketing.
Okay, interesting.
I guess these profiles, we used to leave it only to OEMs. Now, I guess more than the OEMs, it's the dealerships which will require these profiles, because of the social distancing norms which have come in. There are very few customers who would want to walk into a show. They will only want to connect digitally with dealerships. So unless you as a dealer are active digitally across platforms, because you don't know what the customer will choose. Is he doing a Google search? Is he going on your Facebook page? Is he doing an Instagram like what we are doing just now? Or is it a Pinterest? So there's so many digital platforms that are available. And I think all dealer salespeople, and why just sales, even service people, will need to be very, very digitally active. I would recommend even Twitter, because a lot of your customer concerns and inquiries now come on Twitter. So I guess your entire team will need to get very digitally active. So I think that's another area which you can really look at.
And while finally, dealerships, I think even for manufacturers, a lot of the sales is now, people are going to want to see their cars digitally. I think it's a lot of artificial, AR, VR, that's all coming in to platforms for manufacturers as well, where, we've seen where you can have a Lamborghini or an Audi in your show, in your bed, living room, bedroom, wherever you want it, and just examine the car completely inside out. So that's also going to be artificial intelligence and robotics. Those are also areas that people should look into, because that's going to be the way of the future as well.
So not just robotics, Renuka, I think what you'll also need to look at is machine learning. And so artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual, I think these are going to be buzzwords, and these are all the new profiles which the youngsters should look at. And you need not be an automobile engineer at all to get into automobiles. So in fact, there'll be more non-automobile engineers in automobiles than automobile engineers themselves. And so a great thing for youngsters to look at this industry.
So tell us a little bit about ASDC and how it works and what kind of a platform it is for youngsters who are aspiring to be in the automotive industry.
So I think first you'll need to know what Automotive Skill Development Council is all about. I guess when the government realized that the present education system was not good enough to produce people which the industry wanted, they created an ecosystem for skilling. And I think this was done under a skilling program, which was called the National Skill Development Program, started by Dr. Manmohan Singh at one time. And then, of course, it matured a lot under the NDA government.
Okay.
And under the NSDC platform, there were 37 sector skill councils. Automotive was one of them, and probably the first sector skill council to take off.
Okay.
Now, to get the entire ecosystem on board, we had 3 apex associations. One was obviously the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, which are the vehicle manufacturers. Yeah. Then there were the component manufacturers, ECMA. And finally, the FADA, which is the Dealers Association.
That's right.
So all 3 got together along with the Government of India, who was the 4th partner. And under the PPP mode, Automotive Skill Development Council was formed.
Okay.
Earlier mandate for the Automotive Skill Development Council was to define the national occupation standards for automotive industry. Okay. So from manufacturing to R&D to sales to after sales. So we had to do the national occupation standards.
All right.
And then standards under which they would be measured. And if you got into these, how you can get into the industry. So that was the earlier mandate.
Okay.
As the time passed, I think this next mandate was that we needed to identify training partners. Yes. And these training partners would then adopt those national occupation standards, develop content, and develop a system where skilling would become more important than education. So I think the entire domain was about 70% skilling and 30% education.
Yeah.
And then we had to develop assessors who would get these people assessed and certify them as a particular profile. So you could be a technician level 4, you could be a sales consultant level 5, you could be a hostess level 6. And you could also then define your career path. So if I am a technician level 4 today, I could aspire up to going up to technician level 5, which would be almost a technician who's good enough even for R&D, because they would get into diagnosis of new systems, because a lot of the new diagnosis would now be done through computers, through laptops, and you don't really need a mechanic. So I think those are the things that Automotive Skill Development Council did. Today we have across the board training partners all over the country.
Okay.
And each training partner chooses what are the profiles that he's going to train people for. We have an entire ecosystem of assessing agencies, which will then assess these training partners.
All right.
And also the people who get qualified.
Yeah.
And we finally certify them. And I think once we certify them, then these certificates enable them to apply for jobs depending upon what profile you have qualified for, with the manufacturer, component manufacturer, or dealerships.
Yeah.
So I think over the few years, we have almost certified over 4 lakh people in the automotive skill.
All right.
There are other programs. Things like what we call the RPL, or recognition of prior learning.
Okay.
So I think the sector skill councils and the government realized that in the ecosystem, there were millions of people who were already doing the jobs.
Okay.
But they had never been certified.
Yeah.
And they were good enough for doing the job because the industry was running, the entire ecosystem was running. So the government said that why can't we develop a system where we recognize that these people are capable of doing a particular profile of a particular level. So under the RPL, we started first training these people, a basic training, and then certifying them for a particular profile. Why it was important was, one, as soon as you get a certificate, you get recognized. And this is a certificate which you get from the Government of India.
All right.
So, you suddenly become recognized in the ecosystem. Second, you can now choose your career path. So if I get recognized as a level 4 technician, I can then choose my career path. How do I go to the next level and the next level and the next level?
So, sir, just to ask you a question, say, so there's someone who's studying artificial intelligence, wants to get into the automotive industry. Are there certain recognized universities that you are tied up with, certain teaching, how do you develop these skills is what I would like to know. So do these people have to contact you first and then go for specialized courses? What are the specialized degrees? How do they know which ones to apply for? So these are the questions that I think most youngsters would have on their mind.
So I think first thing that I would recommend is that we have a very active website of Automotive Skills Development Council. Okay. And it is a storehouse of information. So if you go to that website, you will probably be able to get answers to all the questions that you just asked.
Okay.
Government has developed a lot of vocational training universities or the skill development universities. So there is one in Jaipur, which is the Bharat Skill Development University. And if you see the infrastructure of that university, it beats the global standards.
Wow.
It's got everything you can, and the entire ecosystem, again, from manufacturing to sales and to after sales.
Yeah.
They have teachers and trainers from across the globe, which have tied up with this university and train you.
Yeah.
There is a Vishkarma Skill Development University in Haryana. Yeah. So there are so many skill development universities which are coming on. And now you also get a degree which is called the BVOC, Bachelor of Vocation, which is equivalent to any degree that you can get from a university. Yeah. So I think the entire skilling ecosystem is evolving to the extent that the government now has a defined ministry, which is called the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I'm just going to request you for a moment because we've got a lot of people asking us the website name at the moment. So I'm going to just give it a shout out. We're talking about the Automotive Skill Development Council, and you can look for the website under that name. So that's the website we're talking about. It just basically, it's for you youngsters out there who want to get into the industry, and it gives you a direction on how you can get certified. What are the ecosystems where you can develop your skills and get additional qualifications. Sorry, sir, to interrupt you, but a lot of people were asking us that question, so I just wanted them to know.
I'm glad they were.
Yeah.
It's meant for them. And I think, Renuka, besides this, what we're also doing is that we are now developing an online learning hub.
Okay.
And this is being done along with TCS Eon, which are probably the biggest in this field.
Okay.
And this learning hub will have a lot of content.
Yes.
Both reference and also for qualification. A lot of content will be there on the learning hub.
Okay.
And depending upon what profile you are going to, you could go to the learning hub, get the content. Some of it would be chargeable at a very, very nominal price.
Right.
And a lot of it will also be free of cost. Okay. For example, we have during this lockdown period, we launched 2 programs. One was Automotive Sales Executive program.
Okay.
Where you could do a 15-day training, pass an exam and get certified as a dealer sales executive.
All right.
We also launched 2 programs for 2-wheeler technicians and 4-wheeler technicians.
Okay.
So a lot of people, so I think almost 3,000 plus people have got certified as dealer sales executives using just that. So that's one thing that we have done.
So you're telling me that someone who's even done, say, a commerce degree and has now decided, I want to do something in the world of automotive, or someone who's done a degree in something completely else, could also come onto your platform, find specialization areas, do the particular courses, and then come into the field. Am I right in that thinking?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So you don't need to be anywhere connected to automotive to do these programs.
All right.
Because I think basically what we are looking at as people who are educated, who can read, write English, and we are also now going vernacular in a very, very big way.
Okay.
And who are interested in getting into this field. And if you are, then there are a fund of courses for you. And you could probably start as a technician and go in and become a CEO of a dealership.
So tell me something. If someone has a certification from ASDC, does that make it easier for them? Do the manufacturers recognize it more? Do the dealers recognize it more, saying, oh, you're ASDC certified at this point of time, so now I know you have a certain set of skills. It's like, how we look for ISI marks on things. Does it really make a difference, and does employment come easier that way?
Definitely. So it does make a lot of difference. And what we are trying to do, Renuka, is that let me also confess that we somewhere down the line realized that our certificate did not have the value it should.
Okay, interesting.
So within ASDC, we decided that we will make it an IIT for auto industry.
Okay.
So
yeah,
an ASDC certificate, if you have an ASDC certificate, then you could walk in anywhere and like you employ an IIT. You don't question an IIT person who has graduated.
It automatically gives you a step up. Yeah.
So could we do that for ASDC certification?
Yeah.
So what we did was that we realized that unless our assessments were thorough, proper, unbiased, and credible, we will never reach that goal.
Yeah.
So 2 years back, we started working with TCS Eon. They are the ones who do all the IITs, all the entrance exams for medical schools, and even IITs, all the allied services are done by TCS Eon. It was difficult to get them on board, but they are now on board. And now they have developed a completely online assessment system where there is no manual intervention at all, both for theory and practical.
Okay.
And suddenly the acceptability of the ASDC certification has gone up.
Okay.
But I think this is still the beginning. We still have to reach that gold standard or the IIT standard we are looking for.
Okay.
But I'm sure the way we are progressing, very soon we will.
A lot of people asking us what are the basic requirements that one needs. And I think Mr. Sanghi has already answered that. He said you can be from any field, in anything you can actually look up, you can actually do courses. But I think what they mean to ask is that supposing they already have a degree, does ASDC also help them get employment? Do you have a list of internships or job offers or where people are looking for people? So does ASDC also act as an intervention agency for people who are looking for jobs in the automotive industry?
So while we are not mandated to be an employment agency, while we are not mandated to find jobs, but we realized that yes, this is what the people were looking for.
Yeah.
So that's the next step which ASDC has done. ASDC has now created a listing platform. It's still work in progress.
Okay.
I think if it was not for the lockdown, we would have probably launched it in April. Okay. That listing platform will be practically like a Naukri.com or a timesjob.com for automotive industry.
Okay.
Where you will have the entire ecosystem on board.
Yeah.
From training partners to assessing partners to trainees to employers.
Okay.
And once you get listed on the listing platform, you could also use the listing platform to decide what training you want to in which geography.
Okay.
Because what is important is that you get to do a training which is required in a particular geography. So you have manufacturing hubs.
Yeah.
You have Maharashtra, like you have Pune, Nasik.
Correct.
Puri, then you have Chennai as a manufacturing hub.
Yeah.
Then you have Hardwar as a manufacturing hub. So it's best to get in that manufacturing hub, because to travel to that manufacturing hub, probably it might not be so attractive.
Yeah.
So you look at that particular location, see what are the vacancies there, and then choose a training partner in that particular geography and get qualified there.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier. So that listing platform is, we have piloted it, we have tested it. I think very soon, as soon as probably this lockdown gets removed, we will have that listing platform in place. And that will be a huge, it will be almost like an employment exchange for automotive in any ecosystem.
I think that it really genuinely, because when I speak to the manufacturers also, I often hear how hard it is to get genuine, skilled, good people, aboard. Even they find it hard to find people. And here I get, mails and mails from youngsters who are actually aspiring and, probably have the skills. But, it's difficult to find a match, because I'm sure HR teams get multiple letters. So there needs to be this kind of exchange. And if it is coming up, then I think that's a fantastic opportunity for youngsters to actually find their match. And a lot of people are asking us, what's the basic cost of a course that you have? Is there any basic minimum, and how high does it go?
So I think, we have put about 6 online courses as of now.
Yeah.
And so what we did in this lockdown period was to make all these courses absolutely free.
Oh,
we
fantastic.
did not charge.
Yeah.
We did not charge anything for these courses.
Okay.
Because we also wanted to understand how people are receiving these courses, and we wanted a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
In terms of their quality, their content, and so, but they'll be very nominal. So I think even if we were charging for these courses, they would be under 1,500 rupees.
Okay, so very nominal cost.
And these are short-term courses.
Okay.
The long-term courses will probably be longer.
Yeah.
But we are in the process of now developing a lot of online content. We had never anticipated that we require so much online content.
Yes.
So I think the entire shift is going to be from phygital to digital, purely digital. And I think we'll have to work hard, but we are already on the job.
Yeah. So a few words for people who, you know, are, say, interested in this field. We've already established that you don't really have to have studied anything. You can find courses online. But what are the kind of jobs available? So you've spoken about dealership level jobs. Then, of course, we have, you know, jobs in the OEMs. For the OEMs, they can be engineering, they can be technicians, they can be marketing, they can be sales. So what are the different variety of jobs that are available for people in the automotive sector? And someone has been also asking us a question about, you know, jobs at institutes like ARAI. So are you all also affiliated with them? Can they get jobs? Would this work? So if you could answer those questions.
So yes, so we do work with ARI quite a bit. Yeah. And I think what you will require to get into ARI is more with a research and development bent of mind. Yeah. So a lot of people who are looking at R&D. Mm-hmm. I think they are the kind of people who would also find jobs in manufacturing, because what is happening is that the entire thing is extremely dynamic. The changes are extremely dynamic, and they are not only dynamic, they are extremely fast. Yeah. So I think as the norms are changing, not just emission norms, safety norms, and now you have the CAFE norms coming in. Yeah. So there's a lot of jobs in R&D. There are a lot of jobs in robotics, because I think the entire manufacturing sector is shifting towards automation. Okay. So there are a lot of jobs on robotics, which also means there are a lot of jobs on CNC machines, programming of CNC machines, writing codes for CNC machines, because they're all to do with robotics. Then I told you data is another very, very big thing even for manufacturing.
Data analytics, yeah, you said.
Because when they start getting failure reports from the field, how do you make sense of those failure reports? Are you seeing a trend? Are you seeing a particular method in it? And could you therefore identify a particular problem which could be resolved at the roots? So I think data is going to be a very, very big thing. Then I told you artificial intelligence, I think, because a lot of the data analytics depends on the artificial intelligence. So how you are looking at data and does that data. The other thing which is happening is HR. I think what is happening in human resources, you will not believe it. 90% of interviews are conducted by computers and not by human beings. Yeah. And the results of those are much, much better than interviews conducted by human beings. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of progress which is being made.
There's no bias there. There's no bias there. You don't see the person. You don't see the profile. There is, you know, you don't, I mean, it's human nature. You know, we always judge a book by its cover, and we do these things. But very often when there is no human interface, the machine just goes about it in a more clinical manner. And, you know, those who know their stuff often get selected far more than the other way around.
But it's scary too, Renuka. It's really scary.
Yeah, it is. It is, because, I mean, when I hire people, for me, I need to see someone's a team player as well. And that can't be judged by a machine. So I think it has its pros and cons. When you know, machines test people and when humans test people, I think both sides, there's pros and cons to that story.
Another field I would like to mention is EVs. So while EVs is too small a portion in India now, but EVs definitely are the future. Yeah. And so ASDC is also now working with the Society of Electrical Vehicle Manufacturers. Yeah. And we have DIFD of the UK government, who are now helping us develop both content and courses in not just EV manufacturing, but EV maintenance, troubleshooting, and all those things. Okay. So that's one big thing that is going to happen. And I think a lot of people who are looking for jobs can also look at battery manufacturing, battery maintenance, charging stations, charging station attendants, battery swapping stations. Those are some very new profiles which are coming in the EV space. Okay. And I think over the next 1 decade, that could become really, really big.
Okay, so very interesting. So you've told us robotics, artificial intelligence, EVs, everything from the battery to the charging stations. These are areas where people can get jobs. And I think that would even lead into the service and the dealerships as well, because that will be an entirely different, you know, field for them. So I think that will be another area of jobs that will be created.
So what will also happen in EVs is that probably the traditional auto manufacturers might not be there at all. If you look at the e-rickshaws which are in the market today,
Yeah.
It's almost like a cottage industry.
Yeah.
So there are small manufacturers of two-wheelers, so you could also become an entrepreneur.
Okay, fantastic.
Could you do a startup? Could you do a startup of probably in Delhi? Let's say you cover only Lajpat Nagar, and in Lajpat Nagar you are giving electric bikes.
Yeah.
So you take an electric bike, come back to Lajpat Nagar.
Yeah.
So you could become small entrepreneurs and then probably develop a chain of such entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Aggregate all those. So there are tremendous amount of possibilities even in the startup world in the automotive now.
Yeah. Sharath, you're asking us how you can join these courses. Well, all you have to do is go to the Automotive Skills Development Council website and you can look it up. There's a host of information there. I'm just repeating this for people who may have joined on right now and haven't seen the earlier part.
You also have a contact us. So you can write a mail. In the website, you also have a contact us. You can write a mail and I can bet you will get an answer in less than 48 hours.
That's fantastic. Also, and he's just said that they're also going to now start an exchange for jobs so that, you know, a lot of people will have it. Yes, absolutely. You can do it after class 12. Like sir said, there isn't any requisite or prerequisite. Of course, for the more specialized courses like robotics and things, you will need degrees in engineering, etc. But I think on the whole, there are a lot of other things and other fields in the automotive sector, which is what I wanted to bring out by this conversation also today, that doesn't have any prerequisites of engineering. But a lot of questions are coming in that if I am a mechanical engineer, how do I start my career? Where do I go and what do I do? So I think we could answer them too as well.
So if you are a mechanical engineer, please don't look at just the automotive industry. So automotive industry is one of it, but mechanical engineering is now used in n number of fields. So, and you could also get into repair maintenance because mechanical engineers are the ones who are required for repair maintenance of not just automobiles, but also plants.
Yeah.
See, India is going to become a manufacturing hub. So of late with the new pandemic in place, a lot of Chinese manufacturing units are now going to shift to places across the world. India is trying to develop an ecosystem to get a lot of those units in India. Yeah. How can India become a manufacturing hub for not just vehicles, but also auto components? Correct. Auto components is still a very, very big industry in India. And in Indian component manufacturers are now exporting parts to some of the biggest in automotive, including aircraft manufacturing. So Airbus, Boeing, a lot of those components are sourced from India. Oh. So I think that's another field that you can really, really look at. So with a mechanical engineering degree, probably some more of sharpening up of your skills on AI or machine learning, and finding a job should not be difficult. You should be willing to do that.
You spoke of mechatronics earlier, sir. So if today, say there's a youngster, he's just finished his 12th and he says, okay, I've heard this conversation, I want to do mechatronics. Would that be a way for him to go on your website and find out where the courses are available, how he can access them, how to get admissions? Would that information be also available?
So that information will be available on the website. If it is not, and if you write a mail to us, we will make it our job to find out and get back to you.
All right. So if someone has a query about a certain course,
and if it is related to Automotive Skill Development Council, leave your problems to us. We will get back to you.
Okay, that's fantastic. So here's a line for all you aspiring youngsters out there who constantly send us letters and we often can't answer them. But maybe Mr. Sanghi and his website can definitely answer those questions for you as to which kind of job you can get, where you can apply, what are the fields you can go to, and even do you have even a counseling advice, sort of advisory for people who are a little confused about, you know, I've done this course, but what kind of field should I go into? Because now I don't know where to exactly start. So do you have an advisory sort of counsel or counselors on board as well with ASDC?
So formally, we don't have counselors as of now. But like I told you, that's again another
area of
work in progress. Another work in progress. But we do definitely have subject matter experts who will be able to help you, to counsel you if you have questions. The other thing that has happened is that we now have a lot of industry participation in automotive skill development.
Okay.
So almost every OEM is a part of the Automotive Skill Development Council in reviewing our courses and developing our courses and becoming assessors. So the entire ecosystem has collaborated in making Automotive Skill Development Council extremely relevant for skills required for automotive.
Okay. Some of the youngsters out there are asking us that they have their own startups and they have their own inventions related to the automotive world. Would ASDC be a source that could help them get their voices to the government, to the OEMs, to other manufacturers, to other, even component manufacturers out there for that matter?
So I don't know whether ASDC will be able to do that directly, but since all these people are on our ecosystem,
yeah,
I'm sure if you write to us, we will be able to direct your mails to the right person in the right field.
Yeah.
So we might not directly be able to help you, but we will definitely give you direction on who you should write to or who you could approach. Because the entire executive of the 3 associations are a part of the Automotive Skill Development Council, Governing Council. So they're all there on the Governing Council, and I'm sure we'll be able to help.
So how do you see the job market now after this pandemic? That is going to be the big question on most people's mind, because, people are losing jobs. Some of the youngsters who have just graduated this year have no idea. A lot of them have already been told that we will not be accepting you into the jobs that you were earlier offered. So how do you see this playing out, and how do you see it improve for the automotive industry and its entire ecosystem, whether you're talking about R&D, whether you're talking about the component manufacturers, whether you're talking about the dealerships? Do you see an improvement coming soon, or do you think this is going to be the way it is and there'll be a moratorium on kind of hiring for a while?
So let me be realistic. So it's not going to be good very soon. And so there will be more job losses than recruitment now, because everybody is in the process of consolidating. Everybody is in the process of conserving the cash. And obviously the investments have taken a back seat. But if you look at the reforms which have been announced in the last 5 days with the government, they are trying to create an environment where Make in India will probably now become a reality. So long term, I definitely see growth. Short term, the pain is going to be there. And I know that it's not going to be very easy to find jobs, because a lot of people who are already in jobs are going to be jobless.
Yeah.
So it is going to be tough. And I think we all need to go through these tough times, probably use these 2 years in honing your skills a little more, sharpening your skills a little more, start concentrating, becoming specialists, and use these 2 years to get into a level where you will definitely be hired when the situation becomes much better.
Yeah, so actually develop your skills further so that you have specialization. And I think Mr. Sanghi sir has spoken time and again through this conversation about the areas that he would think you need to focus on: robotics, EVs, battery manufacturing. So there are a lot of specialization areas that will now be coming to the fore in the automobile sector. And I think a lot of you can take on jobs over there as well. It's been really fantastic talking to you. I think a lot of the youngsters are enjoying, because they've got a lot of answers to their questions. I'm going to throw it open to them if they want to take a couple of more questions. I'll just see if there are some more questions they have for you. I think we pretty much answered them. Is it better working in a dealership or working in a car company? What do you think, and what's the progress from there?
So as a dealer, I would say it's much better working for a dealership, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because see, what you can do is you can have aspirations which you fulfill. Yeah. I'll give you an example from my own dealership, where a parts picker is now a CEO of one of my dealerships.
Yeah.
He started his job, and this sounds like a fairy tale. He started his job at a measly salary of 550 rupees a month.
Yeah.
Today he's drawing a 6-figure salary.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of progress that you can make.
Wow.
Then you almost be an entrepreneur there, because dealerships leave you with a lot of decision making.
Okay.
They leave you with a lot of environment. So you could start from a parts, get into service, get into sales, and probably then become a CEO.
Yeah.
Get into digital marketing. You will have so much, and dealerships employ the most.
Yeah.
So in this entire ecosystem of 40 lakh jobs, just dealerships is 25 lakhs.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest basket. And you could be in the geography of your choice. You need not displace yourself. So these are advantages. When you get into a dealership, don't look at it as a job. Look at it as a career path, and sky is the limit. And a lot of manufacturers now hire from dealerships.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is interesting, because great technicians come out of dealerships because they're, they've got hands-on all the time. There are other people asking us about the management side of the automotive industry. I mean, we've spoken a lot about the technical side, but what about the management side of the automotive industry? And does ASDC also help people get jobs in the, the management side?
So I think we are talking of all the profiles, starting from including a security guard in a dealership or a factory to a CEO.
Yeah.
So, but what we are concentrating now is at the bottom of the pyramid. And why we are concentrating at the bottom of the pyramid is because the number of jobs there are the biggest. The time required in training and investment is probably the lowest.
Yeah.
So going on, I think those are the kind of jobs which are also part of the ASDC skill profile. Okay. But as of now, we are concentrating on probably the bottom of the pyramid. But once you get into this ecosystem, then going up the ladder, do you know Toyota does not employ any senior managers? They always let people graduate from bottom of the pyramid to the top. And this is Toyota all over the world.
Yeah.
So you go up the ladder. So
I think that in any profession, we've all started at the bottom and come slowly up the ladder to wherever we are today as well. So I think that stands for any profession. A lot of people asking us about legal side as well. So there are various jobs in the automotive industry. Yes, there are legal jobs as well in the automotive industry. The sky is your limit, I would say, in this industry. It's not all technical. There are a variety of jobs. Someone's asking us, is your certification valid internationally? And other people have also asked us that, do you also have courses on design, and do you also certify designers?
There are courses on design and now, so there is, it can be from design thinking to design products.
Yeah.
So I think those are the R&D kind of job profiles that you are talking about. And within the ecosystem, you will find jobs in design also. Depends on what design you are talking about.
All right.
So like I told you, I mean, so why just jobs? Don't you want to become an entrepreneur? So we had somebody coming out of our skill development center and he did not even look for a job. He now employs 7 mechanics. He has his own workshop.
Wow. So there you go. You can actually build your own business out of this as well. It's not necessary that you get into a job after this. A lot of people asking us, are there bachelor's degrees that you offer, or are they just specialized courses that you offer?
So ASDC per se does not offer any degree, any course.
Okay.
ASDC partners with training partners and universities to give you all those. Okay. So ASDC does not give you a diploma, does not give you a degree. But now BVOC degree, I told you, started coming in from the various skill development universities which are recognized by the government. The entire ecosystem of skilling is now undergoing a massive change. I think you will see that change in the next 6 months and 1 year. Because the government has realized that education and skilling are two different domains.
Correct.
And if India is to really become Make in India, then skilling is what we are looking for. And a lot of degrees will come into skilling environment also.
Absolutely.
But please don't look at degrees. Please don't look at names.
Yeah.
They mean nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because, a lot of people feel if I go to A university or if I go to B, yes, certain places do have their names, certain places do have their, but I think, if you're good at what you do and you can get a certification from here, I am so sure that, you can get a job in places. Most industries are starved looking for good skill and good labor across the board, whichever level it is. It's been fantastic talking to you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We'll probably have to get you on again by the amount of questions that people have. But before I sign off, just remember, again, I'm saying it once again, it's the Automotive Skills Development Council. Do go on their website. They have a host of information there. I have to admit, I hadn't seen it before I decided to talk to Mr. Sanghi. But when I went on there, I learned so much myself as well. So there's a lot there that a lot of you youngsters will find interesting, a lot of information that you can get from there. And as he said, there is a helpline as well. Write into them and they're ready to help you guys with all your questions and answers. We hope this has been helpful for you. A lot of you have been saying we don't have the time to watch it now. Please put it online. I will be putting it on Instagram Live immediately after this, and we'll be putting it on YouTube as well, so you can access the video in both these places. Thank you once again, sir. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for helping all these youngsters out there.